Hello and welcome back. In the past few weeks, I've talked about prisons, homeless shelters, and nursing homes being breeding grounds for COVID-19. We're starting to see a few cases in Canada in the prison system. However, we can look south of the border to see what can actually happen in the prison system as they're having outbreaks all over the US. Social distancing in prisons is almost impossible. As a matter of fact, most prison cells have at least 2 people in them. The only prison cells that don't are the ones in solitary confinement. Now, there's been hundreds of COVID-19 diagnoses in both local, state, and federal prisons across the US. For example, let's look at Cook County Jail in Chicago. Last week, it had 2 diagnoses. Now, by Sunday, 1 week later, it had 101 inmates and a dozen employees testing positive for COVID-19. Rikers Jail, if you ever watch Law & Order, you always hear about them saying, oh, we're going to send them over to Rikers. Well, Rikers has 139 confirmed cases of COVID-19. The Michigan prison system has 77 positive cases, and at least 138 inmates and employees in the federal prison system in Louisiana alone have COVID-19. Now, America is a little different than Canada. They have a huge population in their jail system. It's the largest in the world, actually. And they put a lot more people in jail as a percentage of the population than we do here in Canada. So they're looking at ways to how do they minimize the spread of COVID-19 in the jails. Well, they're starting to release people early, people who've served most of their sentence time, and we need to start looking at something like that here in Canada. Our jails are not as crowded as the American jails. Quite often in the States, you actually get out early because there's someone else that needs the jail cell who was recently sentenced. We need to look at something similar here in Canada so that we can prevent an outbreak in our jail system, because it's not only the prisoners who are in danger, but also the employees. For example, in the jails, you are not allowed to use hand sanitizer because it's at least 70% alcohol and they don't want the inmates drinking it. So they don't sanitize their hands with hand sanitizer. They still have soap and water. However, they can't social distance enough, and they also can't use hand sanitizer either. We'll be right back.